Imagine this. You're halfway through your busiest day of the year. Clients are waiting, systems are buzzing, and suddenly everything stops. A key server just died. No warning, no backup ready, no plan. Now you're in panic mode, losing time, money, and trust, and your reputation all along with it. That's why Annex A7.13 exists, because equipment failure isn't just an inconvenience, it's a business risk. So, what does this particular control require? Well, it simply states that equipment shall be maintained correctly to ensure availability, integrity, and confidentiality of information. In other words, your equipment needs to be cared for, not just used. And this connects directly to the CIA triad, the thing that is at the very heart of information security. We talk about this quite regularly. We talk about confidentiality, prevents leaks, integrity, prevents corruption, and availability, keeping your systems running when you need them most. I'm often surprised just how often I speak to information security and cybersecurity professionals who seem to think a system outage has nothing to do with information security. And then they complain about confidentiality and integrity and availability and say that the framework, it's not relevant these days. And yet, as we have shown countless times throughout these particular videos, is if your systems are down, does it really matter what caused it? Yes, a hacker, clearly a cybersecurity incident, but the impact on your business and organization is just as profound if it had been a hacker or a cyber criminal as it was if someone had just pulled a cable out, or if your machine broke down, or it was 6 foot underwater, or it's on fire. The impact is the same. So this particular control is all about ensuring availability, integrity, and confidentiality of information, but it's talking specifically about the equipment that you use and states that it shall be maintained. Now, to give an example of why this is so important, I remember once working with a manufacturer who their whole production line was powered by an old system. It had software that had hit the end of life. It had no updates, no patches, no protection. Now, on the surface, everything worked fine, of course, and it seemed to be okay. And the real issue was that no one really knew how to maintain this machine, this equipment, because it was so old. The problem obviously arises when one day the system simply stopped, or the manufacturing portion of that business stopped because the system failed. Now that led to a very many panicked phone calls of people finding out how we could maintain this particular piece of equipment, and they lost thousands in the downtime as they were scrambling around to try and find a resolution to that particular problem. Now, within 12 months of working with us, we helped them replace it, and not only did it reduce the risk, but production actually improved because they obviously maintained the equipment and it was upgraded as well. So here's the truth. Failing to maintain your equipment is like skipping all the oil changes and the services of your car. Yes, you'll save some time, and yes, you'll save some money until the day everything goes wrong and when you need it most. So what will the auditor be looking for? Well, they're looking for proof, both physical and operational, that your equipment that you rely upon has been well maintained. They're going to look for equipment operating effectively and efficiently. So they'll visibly want to see if you have certainly if you have a manufacturing plant, they'll want to see that everything is working as it should. They'll want to see maintenance logs and inspection certificates showing who did what and when. They'll also want to see that qualified people are performing the maintenance, both those internally and externally. So yes, you may have trained people internally to maintain equipment, or you may bring in external expertise, but they'll want to see that the maintenance of that equipment is being performed by qualified individuals. That leads on to them looking potentially for supplier agreements as well that outline maintenance responsibilities, regularity of those supplier audits or maintenance. So is it a quarterly review or maintenance contract? Is it an annual maintenance? What does that actually look like? And only you can determine what that cadence, what that regularity should be. They'll want to see that you have patch management processes in place as well. Are you keeping software and firmware up to date so that the equipment is being well maintained? And don't forget those monitoring logs that you need to have in place as well. You're not just fixing things, you're actually tracking performance as well. And as ever, the auditors are going to want to see that you considered the risks. There may be equipment that you have to swap out at some point because it's going to come to end of life. In that case, you would say, we put it on the risk register that this is approaching end of life. So we're going to plan for this, for it to be swapped out at some point in the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. But you've identified that there is a risk, that it is coming to end of life. And as ever, they're going to want to see that you've got incident logs and audit logs to show that this is something that you are on top of and that it is being well maintained as well and being considered. And if there are incidents, that they're being treated appropriately. So what do you need to do? Where do you start? Well, as ever, we start with a risk assessment. You walk around your facilities, your site, and you look at what equipment you rely upon, remembering that it could be processing equipment, it could be part of manufacturing, for instance, but what do you need? And this does equally, by the way, includes laptops. How are laptops and devices, iPads, tablets, how are they being maintained as well? How are they being looked after? So start with a risk assessment. Go and walk around your site, identify all the key equipment, servers, heating and ventilation systems, which we've talked about previously, backup power, generators, those kind of things that support your data and the environments in which you operate. Go and have a look. Do you have maintenance logs? Do you have a list of when equipment was last maintained or updated? If you haven't, then make sure that you create one. And create or refine your maintenance process as well as you go. If you don't have a maintenance log and you're not sure how often heating and ventilation has been maintained, for example, then make sure that you have a very simple process that states that on an annual basis, these are the checks that are performed and these are the things that need to be carried out. Do remember to think about patch management as well. We talk about patch management elsewhere, but this is a good place to start to have those conversations, ensuring that patch management is part of maintenance for firmware, for systems like heating and ventilation, which is often forgotten about, is a good place to start. And think also as well, whilst we're talking about the more physical environment for maintenance, think about your fire extinguishers. You'll be amazed how many auditors do look around the sites and find fire extinguishers which haven't been tested and haven't been updated for 2 or 3 years, and you will receive non-conformities for that. It may seem trite for you, it may seem trivial, but it's an important aspect. These are critical pieces of equipment in your organization, which many people ignore or forget, and it falls down between the gaps. Just remember also to monitor proactively. Make sure that this becomes part of your audit log. So add it onto your audit schedule to do these equipment maintenance checks as you go around your organization. Of course, if you are using Annex A as a mechanism for managing your audit schedule, then that's great, because you'll come across this particular control and it'll prompt you to go and do that. But make sure you've got a list of the kind of checks you're going to be performing, so that if you're not around, someone else can perform that for you. Just remember, in terms of what your business does, your business, like all businesses, run on trust. And trust really comes from that reliability. And reliability is that you've got equipment that you can rely upon. It's like having a car. You want a reliable vehicle. You want that piece of equipment to be there when you need it, to work when and as you expected it to work. And that's exactly the same as any of the critical equipment that you rely upon in your organization. So Annex A 7.13 isn't about ticking boxes as ever. It's about protecting your business. It's about protecting your people. It's about protecting productivity. And it gives you peace of mind, because when your systems run smoothly, your business runs itself. And then you can get on and go and enjoy doing the things that you enjoy most. So I hope that's been helpful. As ever, I'm Gary Hibbard from Consultants Like Us, and we provide compliance without complexity. And for us, it's about bringing these things to life and doing 27001, which helps you and brings real value to you and your organization. So I hope that's been helpful. If it has, do give this a like, and remember to share this. You'll help me, and you never know who in your network you might be helping too. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments around this. Have you seen equipment being well maintained, or have you ever had an experience where equipment that hasn't been maintained has caused an issue? And don't forget to hit that bell, because that means that you will be notified of future videos, because we do a lot of videos. You may have noticed, if you've been watching any of this, I'm kind of passionate about 27001 and information security. We have a lot of content coming. We have a lot of content already provided. And yeah, there's a lot of things here. And if you have any recommendations, make them kind, and I'd love to hear them. So until next time, thank you very much. Stay well, stay safe, and stay connected. Thank you. Bye-bye.